Today we're going to look at some voices that came through over radio this morning as we woke up, myself and my wife, and started doing things around the house, such as getting dressed, taking a shower, things like that. We started to receive electrical impulses through the radio. So first I'm going to play a sample of that and what that sounds like and what that can sound like. I'm going to jump right to it. As you can hear, as it was described in the Facebook post, I've been working with radio since 2005, and for 4 years in California, or 3 years, Spirit was using electrical energy to speak over radio. It's documented pretty well. Never got clear enough to be able to understand all the time, or to be able to understand enough. So it's a work in progress. It's a development of mediumship. That was a sample from this morning. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and look at a sample through over a period of a couple hours today. First, I'm going to play what it sounded like after it was filtered. Basically, this is what went out on stream 1. This is what, if you were listening this morning, this is what you would have heard. And then we're going to play the same sample, but we're going to watch it through this very narrow filter, low pass filter, or band pass filter, actually. And these are the only voices that are going to come through is within this range, just to show you how it sounds differently. And here we go. Notice actually there's a word in here that I hear quite frequently, and it's called energy. Let me see if I can single that out. It's not an exact match. It's altered a little bit with the filtering. You can see that there's room for improvement, definitely. What's interesting is you'll notice here, for example, at the end, you can hear a word here that you can't even hear up here. That's because it's hidden in the lower frequencies that you normally wouldn't hear. If you had headphones on, you could hear a low rumble. So there's a word here at the end, at the bottom. Let's see if you can figure out what it is. Now, obviously, it's not something that can be heard that well, so I'm not going to say specifically what I think it is because I'm not exactly sure. However, at the end here, I could tell you that in a sentence structure, I hear what I believe to be the word easy. I make it a little bit shorter, include the whole phrase before it. example, my ears would hear this as so easy. But it could be so even, it could be so cheesy because we can't hear it that well. It could be anything. So that's why it's not developed to the point yet to where I could say, okay, here's exactly what's being said. But yet we can understand portions of it. Let's listen to it again. If I were listening to this, it could be many different things. This part I would interpret as, of course, I only have one headphone on, so I would interpret as similar, sounding similar to that's his job. But I have no idea what it actually is. I just could say what it sounds similar or close to. Let's continue. Here's another example. When I say that I can hear and understand portions of them, I can tell you that it's part intuition and part ears. But here I'll be able to actually demonstrate words that I think they are because I can get a sense of them. People want to know, if you want to know what people in spirit talk about, I mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. When I'm listening to them using whatever technique I use, they're talking about whatever's going on around me all the time. They're often explaining what's occurring with the filters. What am I doing? I'm streaming. Are people watching? Facebook, all that good stuff. And in this case, since they just said his job, etc., so easy, they, I intuited from that, and also audibly, my interpretation would have been that the use of computers that I'm doing is making things easier to be able to hear their influence. And the next sentence goes on to say something about equipment, which is in line with the previous sentence. So the actual syllables are ma equipment, ma 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 ma. I'm just mouthing words. Let's continue. Again, if I say I believe I hear something, I will try to say that I believe it sounds similar to and could possibly remotely be a specific word. But you can actually never assume that what you think you hear is what it is because it's not to a level that's established. However, you can feel and get a sense sometimes. So in this particular portion, this portion, I would say the sentence ends with wonderful. Similar to that is wonderful. It's another example where I'm certain of a word. Or actually, I'm more certain of this word than I have been any previously. Let's go ahead and check it out up here. Notice you can't hear it all. Notice a lot of places where you expect to see spikes in voice, there isn't any. So let's listen to this particular word. Tell me if you think you can understand or feel what it is. It's actually right about here. That's a little more than the word. A lot of sentences where they have more than one syllable, especially two or three syllables, those are easier to I would say intuit or to be able to hear. So let's look at it again and I'll tell you what I believe it sounds similar to. First word in this phrase is technically. Again, the first word is technically. listen to this again. This part right here. Now, what's interesting is when you listen to spirit or you work with them long term over radio and you can't hear them that well, understand them, it takes a while to get the nuance of the sentence structure. It's kind of like language. So a lot of times there'll be syllables in sentences that don't appear as well or strong as they should, yet they can still be picked up if you've been listening to it for a long period of time. So here at the end, they actually say he's using a stream. In this last portion of this clip, let me play it again. Let's see. I'm going to say it sounds similar too. I'm not going to say that that's what it is. And often I'm wrong. And I'm probably likely very wrong in a lot of interpretation. Like you actually have to hear it in context for it to make sense. Anything pulled out of context is going to sound like something totally different. But when you hear a full sentence structure, which is another thing that is not demonstrated that often publicly, is that spirit people in spirit actually talk constantly, nonstop, using a lot of methods. EVP is known to be quick, short words overlapped onto energy, but when using radio or other methods, it's actually discovered that they are talking nonstop. It's a stream of consciousness. In this case, it's fortunate for me that there's only one primary voice that I can hear instead of four, five, six, or however many more. That makes it more challenging. If I were to say I heard or intuited a word that sounds similar or two, I would say the first word is close to the word technical. Obviously, after a while, some words you will likely hear more than others. For me, it's radio, energy, computer. I interpret this word to be possibly technical. Let's play the original. Notice it sounds nothing like it. And that's it. This is a quick, short live stream. Just wanted to demonstrate what's occurring these days. I'd like to show the progress and the development and evolution of mediumship through radio. What effect do I have on it? We don't know exactly, We do know that when we stream on Facebook or when we publish an article on the internet or when people get excited about something or there's a special event, anything that makes people think or say wow or increases the energy. Now, there's been worldwide meditations where, such as Deepak Chopra has done. Hope I pronounced it correctly. Never had to. And I've participated in those. Now you do it, but you don't necessarily see the effect. You assume it's going to work, and those are good things to do. Now we're starting to hear that Hans Otto Koenig has been doing live sessions, and he has been doing guided meditations prior to the live sessions. We also know that Marco Luzzatto in Italy is doing Reiki sessions before his video ITC. So, what does this mean? It means that in the future we will be doing worldwide meditations and experiments. And if we can see this here, as the energy builds, just here with me and the stream, and the energy here, and the energy of the people that participate in a circle that we have on the iDigital Medium team, such as I was going to name some people, I shouldn't do that. Basically, when the energy is raised, you normally can't see the effects of it. And I'm telling you that with radio, over a long period of time, in this case years, we can see that there's actually a physical manifestation. And there have been times you can't exactly recreate it, but probably 300 times when something occurs, that's when the energy peaks. And it doesn't necessarily mean if you're feeling bad or you're feeling tired or you're feeling angry or you're feeling sad, all these things seem to actually not have a direct, obvious effect on radio. I'm sure they have an effect on us spiritually, but there is something about our energy that we can't see and we don't yet have a clue about that has a direct effect on energy. And anybody that views this, you have a direct effect, whether you see it or not. And it does add to the energy. It's slowly building, slowly, slowly. It takes a long time. It's not something that occurs immediately. That's it. Thank you for watching this live stream. Another presentation brought to you by the iDigital Medium team. Have a good evening.